Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about Sunderland's heroic 1-1 draw against Aston Villa. And before we get into it, please, everyone, like, subscribe, and comment. I would love to know your thoughts about this game as well. So if you want to ask any questions in the comment section or any thoughts and queries and whatnot, put that in there. And I must apologize as well. I am carrying a wee bit of a cold, so if I do cough, I'll try my best to mute the microphone, but it may happen. So let's talk about it anyway. Sunderland draw 1-1 with Aston Villa, and I think before the game, I can't remember what I predicted in my pre-match prediction. I might have went with like a 1-0 Sunderland win, but I think before the game I probably would have took a draw, if I'm being totally honest. So it's a pretty good point for Sunderland. Thane checking in early doors. How are you doing, my friend? I am well, although, as I just said before, carrying a wee bit of a cold. I think I've been teaching at the university, and I think I've caught a little bit of freshers flu, maybe. So there we are. So yeah, all good, other than a slight hiccup with the health. Let's talk about Sunderland though. 1-1 with Aston Villa, and as I said before the game, probably would have took a point. In the way the game pans out, with the going down to 10 men, and we're going to talk about Reinildo's red card. Love to know what you think about that. Was it stupid? Was he unlucky with it? Did you think it was a fair decision? I want to talk about the game before the red card. It was a pretty even game for me. I thought, it was, would we have won? That's a question. So again, let me know what you think about that one. The game plan after the red card, which we're going to go into depth because I loved it. The fact that we were worthy of the point, impressive displays all over the park. I want to talk a little bit about Aston Villa as well, because they were not the best. It's fair to say. And I also want to look ahead to Nottingham Forest next week. Look, that's going to be a really, really big game. So we've got some exciting things coming on the channel as well before we dive into this properly. We've got Danny Collins coming on at some point this week. So we're going to go through a bit of a start of the season. So that should be really, really good. I'll put a post up if anyone has any questions to ask him. So that is going to be very exciting. So let's start with the team selection. Anyway, so Chris Rigg comes in for Habib Diarra. It looks like Diarra is going to be out for a few weeks. I would expect that it'll be after the next international break. So that is that's a big blow, because obviously he's been such a big player for us. But I actually thought Chris Rigg today looked pretty good, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But I thought he looked good. He set up Isidor for a chance in the first half, and he showed some quick feet. So I was quite impressed with him. Isidor got the nod up front, and we talked about that before the game. The fact that, will he go with Robbie? Will he go with Mayenda? But no, he goes with Isidor. So that was pretty interesting. We had Lefay back in on the left, so Dingra dropped out as well. So they were the main tactical decisions. And it was interesting that Rigg got the nod today, because I thought that, looking at it, would it be Dan Neil? I thought it might have been Dan Neil if Diarra was out. I thought it might have been Lefay in the central area in Diarra's position, and then maybe a Dingra on the left wing. So it's interesting that Chris Rigg got the nod. And look, I know I've seen people in the comment section of my videos have been saying that, they're not 100% sold on Chris Rigg as potentially a Premier League player. I thought in the half an hour he played today from the start, I thought he looked pretty good. So I was pretty happy with the way that Rigg played. And yeah, that was pretty good. Let's talk about the red card though. Everyone just let me know in the comments what you thought of the red card. I thought it was probably a red card. He's given the referee a decision to make. I didn't actually see it live at the game. I was watching the ball. I saw we'd won the free kick, and I thought, all right, okay, fair enough. I was a bit confused, though, because it looked like we had a little bit of a counter on, and then I see the person sitting next to us is like, right, maybe this could be a red card here. It looks like he's kicked out, and it looks harsh on first view, and I'm not going to lie. I feel like when I looked at this just in the ground on my phone, I felt like it was harsh, but he's given the referee a decision to make. And with VAR there, I know the referee sent him off on the pitch as well, but with VAR there, it's just a stupid thing to do. Would VAR have overturned it? Would VAR have sent the referee the monitor if he didn't see it? I'm not 100% sure, because it doesn't look massively sort of obvious to me. I don't know if that would have happened. I'm not sure. An experienced player that just shouldn't be doing that. It's very frustrating, because Reinildo has been really, really good this season, but I'm just disappointed in him, to be honest. Just really, really disappointed. I thought that it was just a really, really, really dumb decision from him to stick a foot out. And yeah, it's frustrating because, we'll talk about this. Do we win the game, for 90 minutes? I would see here as a question. Hi, everybody. means that without the red card, we would have won. What do you think? And look, I think there's a strong argument for that. Aston Villa weren't creating chances today, were they? You know, they are really, really poor. We're going to talk about them in this video as well, but I thought Villa were really poor. And I think we probably do in the second half. We probably do kick into gear and nick the game and turn it around. So win the game maybe 1-0. I think we probably had that. I don't think Villa was scoring. And look, even the goal they scored was an outrageous long-range strike. I've seen one angle back. I don't know if Robin Roofs is maybe at fault there. I'm not 100% sure. So, yeah. Would we have won? Possibly. I think we probably would have, to be honest. I think we were better than Villa. And look, this is what happens with good teams. Like Villa have had such a bad start of the season. They probably deserve to get beat today. And, you know, they because of the red card decision, they managed to come away with a point. And that might be a little bit of a catalyst for them. Let's talk about the game before the red card. I thought Sunderland were pretty comfortable. Also, everyone just put questions in. I'll get the questions at the end. I think that's probably the best way of doing them in comments and whatnot. So I'll highlight all these. Fred, I am all right. Apart from carrying the cold, I don't know if you saw the start of the stream, but I've got a wee bit of a cold going on. So yeah, any questions and comments, just let me know in there. On there they are a bit on the goal. Roofs try to punch the shot while they just save it. That's what let them down, unfortunately. So yeah, maybe there is a question mark over the goalkeeper for the goal. It's a hell of a strike, and it comes through a lot of bodies. I was also wondering the sun may have slightly been in Robin Roof's eyes. I'm not 100% sure. So there we go. So I thought Sunderland were good though before the red card. That was my assessment of it. I think it was probably the most comfortable we've looked this season. Generally, I thought we were pretty good. And look, I think we like to feel out the games, don't we, in the first half. As every game this season, I think it's been 0-0 at halftime. So we like to feel out that first half and figure out what's happening and what's going on. And I think that we were doing that in this game. We created a couple of chances. I mentioned that Isidor one early on. And I think we probably would have found a way of getting a winner. And I'm going to talk as well about our threat from set pieces, but I think that would have been a massive factor in this game because I think Aston Villa did not cope very well with our defensive and offensive set pieces today. But I thought we looked comfortable, and I thought the manager got the shape right again. I was impressed. I thought Sunderland did okay in the first sort of half an hour of the game. The game plan after the red card, and I'll just mute this for a second. The game plan after the red card, I thought it was a masterpiece, to be honest. I thought the way that we played for the last hour of that game was absolutely incredible. The three centre-backs was just fantastic for us. It made us defensively much, much stronger, and it gave us a massive threat with set pieces and throw-ins. We have in there Alderete, Mukiele, and Ballard. We've also got as well, Nordy's throws are better than corner. So yeah, exactly it. You know, that's so spot on as well. Having that threat though from set pieces is massive, and Ballard looks strong again. I thought Ballard was very, very good today. And I think as well that raises the question. I'd be interested to know what people think of this. Do we go with three centre-backs more often? Is this a system that Reggie Slibbery will look at? Because we are actually built for it, I would say, in a way. The fact that we've got them three strong centre-backs that's, played the game today, Alderete, Mukiele, and Ballard. Then you got Trey Hume, and then Masuaku, who is more of a left wing back. We could be built for that. Certainly going into the game next week when obviously Reinildo won't be there. Could we go to three at the back? I mean, the threat that gives us from set pieces. And look, we want to win games on set pieces. We want to be a team that is a pain in the arse to play against when they've got corners. You can see it today. We surround the goalkeeper. We make it horrendous. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that box defending that. And I think that we'll see this more and more, the threat that Sunderland have from set pieces. It's massive. So I wouldn't be shocked to see us go to three at the back. I think that it's a real plus that we have, that we can do that. Talbi, I thought, was brilliant at left wing back today. I was really impressed with him. I thought he was taking risks when he was dribbling, which we haven't seen enough of. I've been very frustrated with Chemston Talbi in the sense that I think he's been good defensively, but going forward, I just want to see him dribble more. And he was doing that today. I thought he was really, really good on the ball. I thought he played solid, and he looked decent at wing back, to be fair. His defensive side of the game is really, really good. So really, really happy with Chemston Talbi. Villa's goal, it's just a long range shot in it. It just flies in. Look, they can happen in games. They can just happen. It is what it is. We talked about the goalkeeper before. Is he at fault? I don't know. harsh to blame him for me, just because of the fact it came through so many bodies. I get it from Sunderland's defensive perspective. They have thought, you know what, with 10 men, do we close down the shot or do we mark the pass? And they went to mark the pass because, let's be honest, this Matty Cash, 99 times out of 100, isn't going to fire that shot with such venom on target, is he? He's probably going to fire it over the bar most of the time. That's just the way that them sort of shots go. So I think we played a percentage game there. We went, yeah, let him have a go. You know, we probably fancy ourselves to, you know, have our goalkeeper save it. So it's disappointing to concede. But I don't want to blame the goalkeeper. I think he's been so good this season. He made a few good saves today as well, so I don't want to blame him. We replied 8 minutes later, though, and I think that's really, really important. Even not just the manner of the goal itself, but the fighting back. And there are just literally a comment in there. I know it's only 5 games, but we don't look like a team that's going to be in a fight this season. We look like an established team already. Yeah, and I think the fact that we're down to 10 men, and we've seen this already this season, that we've replied. We saw it against Brentford. And today we did the exact same thing. We went a goal down and we came back and fought back. And look, it was a lovely goal as well. The Xhaka header was brilliant. That's another assist for him. Isidor, clinical. And I thought Isidor had a really, really solid game today. He worked so hard. He got better as we went down to 10 men, which is a real compliment to him. I thought his physicality, his winning of headers today was fantastic. Really just impressed with him. And yeah, really, really good goal. And I think you just have to applaud the game plan. The game plan overall, the manager talked about it after the game, but I think the players and the manager just had a fantastic show today. And, you know, massive credit. Aston Villa, I know they're in a rough space right now. They're really, really struggling. They've got issues on and off the field. You know, they've got problems with their squad and the way that squad's designed and whatnot. But they're still a top-end Premier League team, and this is a team that's finished like 6th last season, Champions League quarter-final last season, in Europe this season, one of the best managers in the world as well. And we, with 10 men for an hour, absolutely stood up to them from start to finish. And with 10 men, we probably look at a better team. I know not, you know, necessarily everyone loves XG and stats and whatnot, but you know, we had an XG of 1.05 today to Aston Villa's 0.71. We had more shots on target, more shots overall, dominated the defensive stats. We won 54% of all the duels. And apparently Villa didn't even attempt to dribble past a Sunderland player today. So I know that it was dribbling, but they never tried to get by a Sunderland player today. So yeah, 0 successful dribbles for Villa today. And yeah, that's just, again, it's a testament to the team. If anyone's got questions as well, I mentioned this at the start, but if you just tuned in now, please, I'll get them at the end of the video if you want to leave them in there. So I think Sunderland deserved the draw. I think we were good value for the draw today. Probably deserved to win, if I'm being honest. If there was going to be a team that won the game, I know in the last sort of 5 or 6 minutes when the added time came up, we sat in quite a bit to, you know, try and protect the point. Look, the point is absolutely massive for us, and we weren't going to risk that, especially with 10 men. Maybe if we had 11 men, we might have risked it and really went for it, but with 10 men, you can't do that. And I think the point was just too important to risk, and the players are visibly tired. I thought Trey Hume, by the end of the game, I don't know if he got a little bit of a knock, but he looked done, didn't he? He looked absolutely mashed at the end of the game. So yeah, that just about sums up my sort of thoughts and feelings on how the game went. Let's talk about man of the match. Who do you guys think was man of the match in this game today? Because there's plenty of options. Mukiele, Alderete, Xhaka, Siddiqui, Isidor, Talbi. There's so many shouts. Excellent. Every player on the pitch was excellent to a man, other than Reinildo, who got a silly red card. And I think Mukiele, look, what did we pay for him? Like 10 million. What did we pay for Alderete? Like 10 million. Incredible business. Just the recruitment that the club's done. Unbelievable. I mean, we're looking at it now and we're like, well, how does Dan Ballard get in this back for? How could you drop either of Alderete and Mukiele and you can't? I mean, that's why I think there's a question, especially with Diarra out injured. Do you go with 5 at the back? Do you try that? You know, you got Gertrude as well, who can play in at centre back and can play in at centre mid. Yeah, Thane sort of agrees with me here. Nordy man of the match. And yeah, I'd say Mukiele. Look, I think he got the man of the match from Sky. He was incredible today. You know, just looks like a proper player. Unbelievable. The business that we've done getting him in. That whole back 4 barely cost us. It was like with the goalkeeper in there, it's like 30 million quid what was playing today, with Roofs, who cost like 10, Mukiele, who cost like 10, Alderete, who cost like 10. Reinildo was a free transfer. You got on the right side. Hume cost peanuts. Yeah, incredible what we've managed to build with the resources. Let's talk about Aston Villa, though. I know this is a Sunderland channel, but I think by looking at Aston Villa, really all I'm going to point out is the things that Sunderland took advantage of. Our height and physicality was evident. The difference in that we have. Newly promoted teams come up to the Premier League, and I promise you, over the last couple of seasons, none of them have had the physicality and strength of this Sunderland team. Alderete hit the bar for at 0-0 with a header early on. We were an absolute menace on set pieces. Absolute menace. What a pain in the arse we must be to play against. The goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, I thought struggled today just because we kept surrounding him. And it's just so impressive that a newly promoted team has been able to build a squad so strong as well. I mean, the fact is we've lost Reinildo, we've lost Diarra, and it doesn't feel like the team looks any weaker. That's really, really impressive. And look, 10 men a day as well, and you get a point. It's huge. Watkins missed one big chance in the second half. He should have scored with a header. Reminded me a little bit of that Haji Wright chance that Coventry had in the playoff semi-final at the Stadium. Like, massive chance, misses it. Probably the only thing Watkins did all game, really. I thought he was poor. And I thought, as good as Sunderland were, you have to say Villa were poor. I mean, they look like a poor team right now. I don't think they're going to be in relegation trouble, but look, for how strong the newly promoted teams are as a three, and I think they are all pretty strong this season. Villa are going to have to get their act together because they could be. I mean, I think they're already like 5 points behind Sunderland. I think they were 3 points this season, and you actually look around the league right now. Sunderland are 8 points ahead of Wolves. That feels very significant to me. I think that Wolves, that means they've got to win 3 games to get over us. And is that feeling likely right now? They lost to Leeds at the weekend 3-1. Really, really poor in that game. I watched it. They were shocking. You look at West Ham, they're poor. Villa are really poor right now. I think Sunderland are better than Burnley and Leeds, even though Leeds look okay. I think Sunderland and Leeds have got a really strong chance of staying up. I think Sunderland in particular, I've seen some comments from journalists today talking about the fact that Sunderland and relegation shouldn't be mentioned. And I'm going to be really intrigued to see how this goes over the next few weeks. Brentford, yeah, I agree here. Wolves, West Ham, Brentford, all in big trouble as well. Brentford losing, I think, was it 3-1 against Fulham last night? They look like no great shakes to this season. There's a lot of rubbish. I think not rubbish, that's harsh. There's a lot of teams in the Premier League that are stale and looking like they're going to struggle. And these newly promoted teams, the last couple of years, the Premier League 17 teams have just had it easy because the newly promoted teams have been absolutely rubbish. Now you've got Sunderland, Leeds and Burnley all look better than that. And I think Sunderland, anyone who's watched our first 5 games this season, save for the Burnley game, the 4 of the 5, we've been really, really impressive. And we look like a Premier League team. The way that we're structured, the way the manager's got us playing, the way that we don't look like conceding goals in games is just so impressive. We've got a strong goalkeeper. Our back line looks so strong. The midfield looks strong. Yeah, really, really, really impressed. I've seen a few Villa fans saying we were rubbish and they deserved the win. Others saying Villa were poor but deserved the win. Sorry, but did they watch the same game? I don't know. I mean, look, some people don't like XG, but the XG would suggest that we were the better team. We had more XG than Villa, so it is what it is. People are biased when they watch a game, don't they? I'm watching the game through a totally different lens to a Villa fan, and so are you. They will have looked at this and probably just saw the fact that we were down to 10 men and they had 70% of the ball, as you would expect, and think, well, do you know what? We had so much of the ball, so much possession, we should have won the game. But yes, that headed chance from Watkins probably should have went in, and you have to ride your luck at times, that I think that was an added time as well. We weren't going to come back from that, but he misses it, and fundamentally that's Villa's problem, not ours. He misses the header. It is what it is. Let's look ahead though. We've got Forest next. Talked about the 3 at the back. Does the manager stick with 3 at the back? Does he go just Diarra's out until the international break, so there's questions in that midfield? Would we suit a 5-2-3? Would we suit a 5-3-2? We played 5-3-1 today. Is it a chance to get Isidor and Mayenda playing together if you play the 5-3-2? Maybe. Then we've got wingers. We've got Diarra. We've got Talbi. You want to make sure that they're getting minutes as well. So does a 5-2-3 suit? And look, a 5-3-2, what that would give you is the threat on set pieces, which is massive. we are a pain to play against on set pieces. I think everyone can see, everyone in the stadium feels a little excited when we get set pieces because they look dangerous. Our throw-ins are a threat every time we go forward and get one. We play for throw-ins a little bit. The throw-ins look like a threat. And all these things, when you chuck balls in the box, when you chuck set pieces, corners, all that sort of throw-ins, when you do that, yes, the low percentage plays, but we even see it when we got free kicks on the halfway line. They are low percent chances to create stuff. But when you are a newly promoted Premier League team and you do lack a little bit of that creativity, they are going to add up in a game. You are going to get chances from chucking balls in the box when you have physical aerial threats. And we do, like Xhaka as a threat in there. Hume's always a threat at set pieces and whatnot. He can be anyway. You know, we have players that are a pain on set pieces, and we seem to be, we are going to be a team that I think picks up a lot of points by how we deal with set pieces. So the formation against Nottingham Forest is going to be interesting thing. Controversial, but I would go with Mukiele Ballard, Alderete, and Hume. The problem is who's going at left back. You can't play Mukiele surely at left back. So I don't know. Or do you play Hume at left back? You could play Hume at left back. I'd rather play, but we've got Masuaku, we've got players who can play left back. So I would generally always go with a proper left back over putting somebody who's not an actual left back, especially when you've got one. I think Sunderland suit this Forest game. And look, Forest yesterday against Burnley, they should have won. You know, Forest had loads of chances in the game. They created a lot. They look dangerous. And they're a different threat to every team we've played this season. Every team we've played this season has been pretty defensive. And that's the quote-unquote kindness of the fixture list. We've played against West Ham, who are no great shape. I mean, they're just rubbish. So ignore them. Burnley were defensive. Brentford are pretty defensive. We've played Palace, who are a pretty defensive team. They let it play on the counter-attack. And we've played Villa at Dame, which was a weird game because we were down to 10 men. And I think Forest under Nuno would be another defensive team. But now they've got Ange Postecoglou. And what I saw yesterday from them, I think that Forest look much more attacking. They look like much more of a threat, in my opinion. And I think that it'll probably suit us quite well. We can go there and be defensively compact. I'd be interested to see, you know, if we did go with 5 at the back or if he sticks with the 4. But 5 at the back would make us even more compact and would deal with a lot of their threats. The only thing is with that is the 5 at the back, if they only line up one striker, then you could get outnumbered elsewhere on the pitch, which I think they probably will go with one striker. I think they'll just go with Chris Wood up front. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But I thought Forest were good yesterday. And look, Ange, I think they've got a game in Europe midweek. I think they play Real Betis, I want to say. I might be wrong there. I'm pretty sure they play Real Betis, though. Away as well. That's going to be massive for them. And this is the first one they've had this season of going into Europe. So they've got to go against Betis midweek. Massive game for them. Their fans are going to be well up for that one. Huge away trip. I hope they enjoy it. Hope they get a win. It'll be good for them. But what it means is they're not going to be used to the slog of playing the Thursday, Sunday, but Wednesday, Saturday. It's the same thing. That's going to be really difficult for them. They'll go to Real Betis. They'll fly there on Tuesday. They'll play the game Wednesday night, come back early Thursday morning. They're basically going to have then maybe a cool-down recovery session on Thursday. Friday will be the only day they can prepare for playing Sunderland. So they're not going to be doing tons of work to prepare. And look, the top-level teams who are used to playing in Europe are not going to be flawed by that. But Nottingham Forest haven't done this. You know, they haven't played Europe. And I know Ange has, but the players at Forest will not be used to playing Europe on the Wednesday or the Thursday and then playing the game on the Saturday or the Sunday. So that's really, really, for me, that's pretty interesting. Anyway, let's scroll through comments. If anyone has questions, let's do this. So, due to the circumstances, it's a very good point. Had it been 11v11, we would have won it, in my opinion. I agree. It was even, but Villa were there for the take. And, you know, I agree. I think Sunderland would have edged it in the second half. I think with 11 men, I really, really agree. They were saved by the crossbar and Al. Good localism there. Yep, I would agree with that. You know, if Alderete scores there, we go 1-0 up, we sit in. It's going to be really, really hard for Villa to score. Maybe they do score that ridiculous long-range goal. It's still. And also that Hume tackle before that was suspect. I mean, I was sitting right in front of that. I thought Trey Hume could have been sent off. But anyway. Chris Rigg was doing actually quite well. Yep, I'd agree with that. We need a dinger on the right, maybe. You know, you say that, but Talbi is defensively strong. I like what Talbi brings. I'm a fan. I don't know if you take him out. I'm not sure. But the manager trusts him. He talked about in his press conference how much he trusts him. So not 100% sure. First 20 minutes of the second half, we batted down with 10 men. Yep, I agree. So we would have started at Dingra, but to be fair, Talbi probably had his best game in the Sunderland shirt today. Yeah, I agree. Took his man on. That's what I want to see. I want to see him take on his men more. I want to see him attack the fullbacks. He's got it in him. You can see he's got quality in him. I want to see him do that more. He's definitely got the Simeone about it. Yeah, Reinildo probably does. And look, at the end of the day, what happens with players like Reinildo, if they do have this in them, is one, they'll learn from it. You know, I know he's an experienced player, but he will learn from it. But two, that's kind of what you're buying. Like, the reason why he's a good player is probably because he has that fiery mentality. And look, sometimes it hurts you. Hopefully, it's the only time this season it hurts you. But yeah, you shouldn't be lashing out. There's definitely a bad foul from the Villa player, so either exclude both or try to be diplomatic. Roof tries to punch the shot rather than just save it. That's what let him down. Reinildo, again, love him, but he plays close to the win. Gave away a penalty against Brentford too. Yeah, you know, and at the end of the day, we've got options, haven't we? So we've got a question here about who plays left back against Forest. Do we play Hume there and bring the Dutch lad in at right back, or do we find a way to get Ballard back in at centre back? Similar to kind of this, but I think Reinildo has competition at that left back position. Fundamentally, if you can't trust him to keep his cool in games, then you know we have Masuaku. We also have Dennis Serkin, who should be coming back soon into the squad. In terms of Forest, presuming there's no more injuries, touch wood. I don't know who you'd play at left back, but my gut instinct is that I think he might go with a 5 at the back. I don't know. Maybe he won't. He likes the 4-3-3, doesn't he? It would be quite a change to go to 5 at the back. But it's hard because you want to get Ballard back in the team because he looks good. But then also, you know, do you want to change that midfield 3? Do we want to have an air of control in that midfield 3? That's the difficulty there. We've got options. That's what I would say. But I think left back, if it's a 4 at the back, I think Masuaku goes in at left back. I don't think you play Hume there. But playing Hume there, it would give you the chance to keep Mukiele in at right back. But Mukiele's been incredible at centre back, so to take him out of centre back feels harsh. Got to get Ballard back in the team for set piece threat. Yeah, I mean, this is why I've been looking at 5 at the back, because it does do that. And it's ridiculous as it sounds, it helps us in an attacking sense as well. 11v11, we probably won this at 10 men, 0-1 down. This is an okay result. I think it's better than an okay result. I think it's a good result. We're still above the 1 point per game. The way we ride, I think, gives us greater impetus and a better chance to stay up. Yeah, anyone who watched that game today, and I've seen a few pundits and, you know, journalists talk about this, they would look at that game and say Sunderland are a decent Premier League team. And I think it's hard because we're newly promoted and there's that stigma around newly promoted teams. But there's nothing I have seen in the first 5 games of the season that like massively worries me. I think there was a bit of a ropey bit against West Ham on the opening day where I thought, oh my God, the Premier League looks really, really difficult. But we seem to be getting better with every single game, which is, you know, it's really impressive to see what we're doing in terms of just every game getting better and better and better. And yeah, I think it gives us a better chance to stay up the way that we came back. It gave me a lot of hope. It gave me a lot of excitement for the season ahead, just seeing the way that we battled back. And Villa, as I said, are an established Premier League team, and we found a way to get, you know, to get a goal and to get the game level and draw it and get a really, really big point. Because when you're down to 10 men for an hour, any point's a positive point gained ultimately. And, you know, we've got one there. Look, it's frustrating. 11v11, I think we probably do win the game. And that's the annoying thing. We leave this with that sort of irritation that we haven't been able to get that. But all in all, coming away, it did feel like a win to me. I know it's only 5 games. We don't look like any team that's going to be in a fight. Yeah. I think we touched on that comment before, but yeah, I agree with that. That goal reminds me of an assist from MV at the corner against Everton and a big get Sam. Yeah, I definitely see that. And where else are we? Straight red or borderline yellow? It just wasn't worth the risk. Just stupid. I agree. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's really, really exasperating to lose to get a red card like that in the first half of the game. Just so frustrating. Would you play 2 up top? And if so, who would you play? Well, I mean, this comes back to the 5 at the back moment, doesn't it? The 5-3-2. Could you play a 5-3-2? I don't know. I think Isidor Mayenda, what we saw last season when they played together, they were an absolute pain in the arse to play against. So I think that would make sense. I think when we play one up front, look, I think long term it's probably going to be Brobby, because Brobby has that physicality and that sort of strength to hold the ball up. But I thought Isidor did a really good job of that today. And that's often the one area of his game that I think he really, really struggles with, his hold up play. But I thought he was really, really good today. So, yeah. I think the two up top, if it was me next week and he did go with a 5-3-2, it would be Isidor and Mayenda up there. You'd have the midfield three. That's probably going to be Lefebvre, Xhaka, and Siddiqui, providing Siddiqui's 100% fit. And then it would be Masuaku at left back, Alderete, Ballard, who else would be at centre back? Mukiele, Trey Hume at right back, and then obviously Roofs and net. That's probably how I'd go if you were playing a two up front with a five at the back. Siddiqui seems to have done his hammy, but it was back to a junior style, putting it full time. I think it's probably just cramp. That's what I think. Chris Sutton on Sky Sports gets on my nerves. He wanted Villa to win. Obviously, I did not drive. Didn't listen to Sky. I don't know. So, did play for Villa though, I think, Chris Sutton. So maybe that's why. Chris Sutton has totally changed his mind on us after actually watching us for the first time. Well, very good. It's good to see that happening. I remember years ago, Graham Souness got on my nerves because he said that Sunderland were looking for Nirvana in their recruitment policy because he thought it was ridiculous that we were targeting young players. This is when Alex Neil went to Stoke. And yeah, just goes to say that Nirvana maybe does exist. Oh, Thane, Labrie drives me crazy sometimes with the subs, but he was right not to bring Brobby on for Isidor because it just wouldn't have suited him. Yeah, I think last week against Palace, he probably looked at that and thought, you know what, maybe Mayenda would have been a better shot for that. Yeah, because Brobby just didn't. I think Brobby's probably somebody you start and let him, get into the game. I think Isidor. Yeah, Isidor and Mayenda I just like the way that they play. I like that when you are sort of chasing a game, they can create things from nothing. There was a couple of times Mayenda, when he came on, he nicked the ball and stuff and played the ball through somebody's legs and he nearly gets away. He's got that sort of in him. Do you think Isidor will be our 20 goal plus striker? 20 goal plus is a lot. We scored 3, hasn't he? 5, and he's only started 2 of them. He looks like a Premier League player, and I've touched on this before, but I think Wilson Isidor is built to play in the Premier League. He's one of them players that I think is going to be better in the Premier League than what he is the Championship, because the problem in the Championship when you're Sunderland is that you play against teams all the time that are just sitting in trying to frustrate. And after that, you saw the first half of last season, we had a lot more freedom in our attacks. And then when people realized we were good, they stopped doing that. Isidor now, I mean, he's got good instinctive finishing, but he's a big game player. Every game that feels big, he just feels like he's going to be a threat in the match. And we saw that today. It was an unbelievable finish today. And the goals he scored this season, they've all been, the header he scored against Brentford in the last minute, he scores big goals. Yeah, good start. I've seen this a few times. Isidor first strike ever needed promoted side, scoring his first 3 home games. So I think the spot is his to lose. Fundamentally, the spot is his to lose. So yeah, Isidor might have scored 20 goals, but if you can score 10 or 11, that'd be pretty good. 5-4-1 with Enzo Lefebvre central. So what Lefebvre? How would that work? You'd have Lefebvre playing with Xhaka, and you wouldn't play Siddiqui, or do you have Siddiqui on the left? I don't know. Final thoughts. Anyway, before I go, because I've been rambling on for a while now. Dan Neil got some minutes today. I know not everyone loves Dan Neil, but I am happy for him. I remember little Dan Neil when I worked at the football club, and he was about 16, 17 years old, having lunch with him. And I am made up for him that he's played in the Premier League and made his Premier League debut. He's been with us since League One. And yeah, love Dan Neil. Think he gets a bit of a hard press. Glad he made his debut today. Final thought is, I think we actually look like a Premier League team. So there we go. And that's the thing for me. We don't look like a team that is playing FA Cup ties. And I watched Newcastle Barcelona in the week, and Newcastle fans sort of thought, oh, you know what, we got a chance here. That was an FA Cup tie. Barcelona are miles ahead of Newcastle, and there's nothing wrong with that. We look like a Premier League team. We played Aston Villa today. We matched them every game this season, even the one we lost against Burnley. We have been solid. We've lost 1 game so far out of 5 for a newly promoted team. Yeah, loads of people praising on Dan Neil. There we go. Love Dan Neil. Yeah. And I suppose the last thing is, will we look at this as 2-point dropped at the end of the season? I don't think so. I think Villa will be a top 8 team this season. So, you know, I think we'll look at this and go, do you know what? Wasn't a bad point. The context of it frustrating. The fact that we were playing with 10 men and we possibly would have won the game with 11. But it is what it is. Look, fundamentally, we go down to 10 men against Villa maybe in March when they are up to speed and and are playing a really, really strong game. Maybe we lose the game. So maybe we should be thankful we're playing Villa at what is for them a bad time, because otherwise you go down to 10 men, you probably don't get anything from the game. So there we are. There's a bit of a positive spin on that one. But thanks everyone for watching the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe as well. We'll catch you for another video very, very soon. I'll do a match review tomorrow. I'm recording with Danny Collins in the week, so that'll be really, really exciting. I'll put a post up for questions for that one. We might have another exciting interview coming up this week as well, which I'm really, really looking forward to, but I've not had that confirmed yet. But yeah, loads of good stuff coming on the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon.